Hello, everyone, and welcome to Deb TV, dynamic, empowered, and bold. This is your host, Miss Deborah Deras. Yes, I put a miss on my name. I don't know why. I am a Latina speaker, author, and marketing consultant, and I want to wish you a very happy New Year. And we have a very special guest to help you to let go of that yo-yo dieting cycle once and for all. I have the amazing health and fitness coach, Miss Sheila Viers. Welcome.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here today. I'm so excited. I really am. I love talking about this stuff, so I can't wait to dive in.
Yes, and not only me, but I know thousands, maybe even millions of people out here really want to hear what you have to say, because especially after all of the overeating of the holidays that some of us have done, it's going to be so wonderful to be able to stop that once and for all and be free of that. But let me give you a formal introduction to the beautiful Sheila. She has a signature method, which is a non-diet approach to weight loss and health. Bye-bye to restriction, deprivation, and strict rules, and hello, freedom, flexibility, and sustainability. After years of yo-yo dieting, over-exercising, and issues ranging from food sensitivities to hormonal problems, Sheila learned how to get out of the body jail and to get aligned with her ideal body weight and heal body imbalances. Once she mastered this unconventional approach for herself, she began helping others to rock their dream body and live their dream life. Her goal is to help you to nourish your way to your goals and ultimately to create your most satisfying life, because it's not really about the number on the scale or the waistband on your pants. Thank goodness, Sheila. It's about feeling so good that you stop obsessing over your body and start focusing on fully living your life. Hallelujah, Sheila.
Yeah.
I know so many people are just like, thank goodness, because if I buy one more freaking book with all these great recipes for shakes or salad and still find myself on this yo-yo diet, I'm going to go crazy, right? Am I alone, people? Are you with me?
Yeah, you're not alone.
Say that again?
I was saying you're not alone. There's so many women, especially, that feel that way. Men too, but a lot of women struggle with that. And it's really like that's my mission, is to help women get out of that and to truly feel amazing in their skin.
And losing weight and food issues is such an insidious thing, because other addictions, like you could cut cold turkey, like, okay, I'll stop drinking or I'll stop smoking or I'll stop gambling. But with food, it's something that we have to eat many times during the day. And I would just love for people to hear your story and your journey so that they can have hope that they don't have to struggle. Because some of us, like me, I was on my first diet when I was 8 years old.
Yeah.
8 years young, I should say.
Yeah, for me, my story, or my, fitness and health journey really began back when I was 15. That was when I started my first diet. And I remember I thought that in order to be beautiful, I had to be skinny, and I think that a lot of women can relate to that too. And, all through high school and then into college, I really kind of bounced around from every single diet that was out there, Weight Watchers, Atkins. I tried them all. I would starve myself. I would push myself so hard in the gym. I would try to make up for what I ate the day before in the gym, because I was trying to basically punish myself for my wrongdoings and the things that I felt guilty about. And it really just spiraled. I ended up gaining weight. I ended up just feeling emotionally disconnected from myself, and it started showing up as problems with my hormones. Just my body was just very out of whack. And so I ended up getting to the point where I did meet a trainer who helped to teach me about calorie counting and things like that. And I did end up getting to my goal weight. But here's the thing, and this was my sort of like transition point, was that once I got to that number on the scale that I thought was going to make me happy, that's when I realized I was like more afraid than ever before to do anything different than my strict plan of what I had been following, of like basically chicken and broccoli, you know, like very, very strict rules that I had set for myself. I was afraid to go outside of that and live my life and go out with the girls for cocktails, or, you know, eat anything that wasn't on my plan, because I was so afraid to lose everything, you know, to lose or to gain the weight back that I had lost. And so I felt like, man, this is like body jail. You know, I felt like I was so imprisoned, and I that was the turning point for me, that I felt like there has to be a better way. And that's when I started looking at other ways to create this lifestyle that's more sustainable. It's freedom based. It's all inclusive. It's not restrictive. It's something that really takes into consideration your own personal preferences and desires, like for the life that you want to live. And for me, it was really learning how to live my life, give myself permission to live my life and not be so obsessed with my body all of the time. And so it was a journey, but it was one that I eventually mastered, in the sense that I finally figured out this relationship between feeling good about ourselves and our emotions, and how our emotions really do have a direct physiological effect on our physical body. Meaning, like, if we feel really crappy about ourselves, if we feel stressed out, if we feel guilty and shame all of the time, then it actually stops our body from being able to function optimally. And thus, like, digestion, metabolism, all of that stuff is affected and actually slows down. Versus if we can feel empowered, if we can feel like this is a journey of self-discovery, and learn how to like nourish ourselves towards whatever goals we have set for ourselves, then it makes everything that much easier. It like works a lot of the kinks up the chain, works out the kinks up the chain. So that's what I teach my clients. I help them to really understand how to work with their body versus against it. It's not like you have to force your body to do these things. It's like, how can I support my body into, you know, getting to whatever goals I want to achieve for myself.
Sheila, that was a really aha, take a note moment when you said that. I really want people to get it. So what you're saying is, it's not just, you know, fake it till you make it. That physiologically, literally, when we say, oh, I'm fat, or I'm ugly, or I don't like my body, that we're sending signals to our body that slows down our metabolism. Is that from cortisol or stress? How does that work?
Yeah, it's actually the stress response. So you have two branches of the central nervous system, the parasympathetic and the sympathetic. So the parasympathetic is the tender befriend. So that's the relaxed response, where you're basically in chill mode. Then there's the sympathetic side, which is the stress response. That's fight or flight. And so when you're operating in the fight or flight mode, either, you know, if you just had a conversation with a coworker and you're all, you know, worked up about that, or you're upset about what you ate last night for dinner and you're feeling guilty about that, or, you know, you're really stressed out at work, or even if you're like eating while you're multitasking and you're not giving your body the time to relax to be able to take in the food, that's when you're operating in this stress response, and your body literally is just focused on survival. So all of the mechanics, all of the functions that are not directly related to survival are shut down. So that would be like digestion, metabolism, all of that stuff, because literally your body is thinking like, I don't need to worry about that stuff. I just need to worry about staying alive. And so if you think about that, like, most people are so used to operating like in a stressed out state all of the time. They're constantly go, go, go. They're filling their plates too full, you know, literally and figuratively, but they're just like really taking on so much that they become so numb to this like stressed out mode. They don't even know that they're stressed out. It's just normal.
Oh my God, you're talking about all of my clients. I don't know if you know, I wrote this book, Confessions of an Adrenaline Addict, and my clients will come to me because they're so overwhelmed and stressed at work, and then surprisingly they're overweight, and it's just because they're not caring about themselves enough to make time to exercise. And one of the things when I was coaching them, I was saying, it's not you have to work out because you're punishing yourself, but you get to play out. So pick something that you enjoy, because I, like you, Sheila, I mean, when I guess I became a workaholic. I'm not a workaholic, a workoutaholic, because I went from just exercising at the gym, like to burn calories, to training for marathons and triathlons. And it was so abusive. I can't tell you all the injuries I had from all of these crazy sports. And I just had to, like, for a year, take off and just do yoga just to like get my body back. And then my body was losing weight and I was working out less. So I was like, what is going on here? This is very interesting.
Yeah, you switched from that mode of trying to prove something over to this mode of like, how can I nourish my body? How can I take really good care of myself? And that's the switch that needs to be flipped for most people, is like, you know, we think we have to get to that number on the scale. We think that we have to prove that we're beautiful by hitting X goal. But when you can give yourself permission to like be happy with what is, but eager for more, and like take the focus off of like it being an obsessive thing to a fun thing where it's like, you know, wouldn't it be cool if I could have this journey, which isn't like a small short time frame where we try to like force ourselves into these 4-week plans or things like that, where we need to like go and X number of pounds off by that time frame, to really just give yourself permission to say like, how can I take really good care of me? How can this be about giving myself permission to nourish my body and give it what it needs and listen to it and tune in, you know, and stop focusing on what everybody else is telling me to do, but really listen to my body, which is something that we don't often do.
So the question that they should write down on a Post-it note is what? What does my body want? What does my body need? Because what if your body wants C's candy, but it really needs an apple?
Well, that's the thing. So you ask yourself, what do I need to do right now in order to feel nourished? Like, what does my body need right now in order to feel nourished? And sometimes that's physical, sometimes that's emotional, sometimes like really what it is understanding that when we think about getting healthy, when we think about, you know, losing weight or breaking free from yo-yo dieting, it's like a 3-pronged approach. There's movement, which is the fitness, that's getting out there and moving your body in ways that are inspiring to you. So not forcing yourself to do things you hate, but doing, like you said, exercise that you enjoy.
I love that are inspiring to you. Highlight, underline, everybody.
Yes. And then the other part is nourishment or nutrients. So you want to eat foods that are nourishing and taste good too. So I work with my clients to develop, I talk about like the 3 non-negotiables. So those are the 3 things that you want to include in your daily or weekly food lifestyle that help you to like feel excited. So, you know, like these things that we think we have to give up. We're like, oh, I can't have sugar. I can't do this. I can't do that. Then we feel so deprived that we end up binging on them. So if you tell yourself like, I love dark chocolate, and you say like, I'm going to have dark chocolate, you know, a small square every night for dinner, and that's okay, then it's like, oh, I don't feel deprived. So it doesn't have to be this like, you know, deprivation thing. It's like, no, this is the lifestyle that I'll be able to stick to for the long term. And then the third piece is the emotional side. And that's the part that nobody pays attention to. Like, why am I overeating? You know, what's the trigger? What's happening before that? Why am I using food to comfort myself? Like, what is it that I really want? And usually that's love. And there's a whole, I can go into that in detail, but basically it's about food equals love for most people. And if you figure out what that love is that you're actually craving, then your comfort foods and, you know, food itself becomes less of a something that you crave.
Wow. Okay, say the 1, 2, 3 one more time.
So it's movement or fitness. Then it's nourishment, which is nutrients, you know, food. And then the third one is emotional health. And that's really targeting the why, like behind the overeating, the why behind why you don't feel good enough. I mean, food is really an indicator. It's like how we act with food is kind of how we act in life. And so when we think about it, like if we're using food to comfort ourselves, that probably means that there's somewhere else in our life that we're not being comforted. Like we're turning to food because it's always available. It's really easy to get, you know, it doesn't judge us. So, you know, we can turn to food and feel like that will fill that void inside. But really there's something else inside that's going on, that whether it's, you know, we're carrying around anger, resentment, fear, something that happened in our past, whether, you know, there's some area of our life that, you know, we're not feeling fulfilled either in our work or our relationships. And when you start working on that stuff and you start filling yourself up from the inside out, then that's where emotional eating doesn't tend to be something that you turn to on a regular basis anymore.
So what you're doing is you're really getting to the root cause, because when we eat naturally, we don't overeat, or when we eat what our body needs. I guess it's back to that, what nourishes us, because what nourishes us is what's good for us. I remember I was meditating, just asking God, like, what am I supposed to eat? And I saw like a rainbow. And I interpreted that as like foods from the earth. Like, I want you to eat more vegetables, more fruits, just anything that's red, yellow. So that's when I started eating like kale and blueberries and spinach, because I like wearing blue and green. And I'm like, oh, well, I'm going to eat more blue and green in my life. And it just like really worked for me. I just felt like more energy and more vibrant, and I was having less cycles of overeating, but it was like that listening. And I think that's what's unique about Approach. I want to hear about your system that you created, because you have an intuitive way of eating that I think is very, very important, because so many people are disconnected with our intuition. And this is a great reason to reconnect them with that if they're going to get the guidance that they need.
Yeah. Well, and for me, it's like a hybrid approach to intuitive eating, because what I teach is that like emotional eating itself isn't bad. Like, everybody does it. We all go out and celebrate, and we use food as something that we enjoy. Like, in many cultures, food is a very important part of celebration. The thing is when we use food as that crutch on a regular basis, that's showing us, it's almost like that's an indicator. When we turn to food, we overeat, then we feel guilty. It's a big cycle that keeps happening and happening, showing us that there's something there that we need to pay attention to, something else going on. And so the way that I help, it's a combination of things where we work on that underlying stuff, and we try to get to like what's really going on. We forgive and release. We do a lot of work on replacing limiting beliefs that we picked up from other people in our life, like when we were younger, things that our parents told us that, aren't necessarily serving us anymore. They're not necessarily helpful to us anymore, and we replace them with more empowering beliefs. But related to food itself, we change behavior. And the way that I do this is not necessarily to just say like, oh, because a lot of people don't really understand intuitive eating if they've never done it before. So what I do is I start to implement different practices with them to understand, like, what is my relationship with food? Like, what foods am I eating that I really don't like eating, but I'm forcing myself to eat them because I'm supposed to, because somebody else told me that I need to eat them? Or what foods am I depriving myself of that I would really love to eat? And maybe I can start incorporating them into my food lifestyle in a way that is, including moderation, healthier versions of them. And the biggest thing here, and the most important thing, this is something to write down, is that whenever I eat these foods that I really enjoy, or really any food in general, I need to stop and really tune in and be very present, because a big part of digestion is actually like allowing your other senses to turn on before you start the process of eating. So the first goal is actually to get your taste buds going, because that's the first part of digestion. And then that sort of signals everything else down the line. So what happens is we multitask when we're eating while we're driving, we're doing all of these other things, and then we'll eat a meal, and then our plate will be empty, and we'll say like, oh my God, I don't even remember eating any of that. I didn't get any enjoyment out of it.
And then you still feel hungry. Like, if I eat when I'm driving like a bar, I'll be like, I'm still hungry. I need something else. Did I just eat? It's like the mindless. So what are you saying? I'm getting very excited. I'm sorry. So what you're saying is, if everyone would just be mindful and like set a plate, and this is my meal, that it would help them to release weight?
It would help them to tune in, which would turn it on all of the processes like we were talking about, like digestion, metabolism. If they're paying attention, then their body's able to receive that food. And pleasure is actually a part of the process too. Like, you're supposed to enjoy food. It's not supposed to be like you eat things that you hate just because you should. Like, if you are in a stressed out state, or if you don't like some food, you could eat the healthiest thing in the world. But if you're not paying attention and you're not tuned in, and your body's not getting those signals to turn on digestion and everything else, then you're not going to receive the benefits. Like, your body won't assimilate the nutrients properly. You won't get all the goodness from it. Yeah.
Even from kale? You could eat a kale spinach salad, but if you're not mindful, you're not going to get the benefit?
Well, I mean, you will get some benefit, but you won't get the most benefit from it. There's a book called the Slow Down Diet. And that was a book that I read in the beginning of my journey of this whole transition. And that was by Mark David. And he's founded the Institute for the Psychology of Eating. And he has a bunch of studies, like all the science behind this and why it's true. Because like pleasure is supposed to be a part of the digestive process. Like when you think back to like when we were little, food equals love. Like, normally you're fed while you're being held. And so that's where like the connection with food and love begins in the beginning. And so then that transforms. That's a whole nother story, but like we can dive into that as well. But to keep it going where we were talking about, as you get older, you start to have these different comfort foods because they tie back to memories that are comforting to you. And so that's where we can see how like we are supposed to have these different foods that really do bring us enjoyment. And it's okay for us to be able to eat foods that we do enjoy. It's just, you know, we want to fill our plates with foods that do have lots of nutrients, and then allow ourselves to eat those foods that are simply pleasure foods too. And then it's like the whole big package is really just tuning into your body, making sure it's in that receiving mode so it can take the nutrients from whatever you're eating in the best way possible, and then release whatever it doesn't. And it's a lot less of a stressful, complicated process than I think a lot of us are making it out to be. Does that make sense? That was kind of a long answer.
So repeat the name of that book again. The
Slow Down Diet.
The Slow Down Diet. You know, one of the chapters in my book, Confessions of an Adrenaline Addict, is slowing down. And it's just because when your adrenals are going, of course, you're in the fight or flight stress response and no system is working. So this is so in alignment in what I've been coaching people, but really laser focused on food. And when we think of food as fuel rather than food as comfort, our relationship with food can change. Because what you were saying before was, I think a lot of the people, the yo-yo dieters that are tuned in, have the all or nothing. So they're either eating whatever they want, or they're eating only, you know, vegetable and rice, and then they burn out on that and go crazy, and then that's where the cycle begins. So what you're teaching in your system is just a consistent way from that 3 parts to be able to love your food and eat mindfully, to fitness, which I'm sure we'll be talking about, and then also the relationship with love. I think before we get into fitness, let's talk a little bit more about the relationship with the love connection, because I really believe you're onto something that I really haven't heard too much before, and I think it's the key. Because when we love ourselves, I heard in just different books that I read, you know, you can't lose weight unless you love the body that you're in. I think Janine Roth or something wrote something about that. So it's about loving and accepting yourself. What is the importance of that?
Well, I think that the importance of that is really giving yourself permission to heal the stuff that's caught, like we were talking about before, like release the shame, release the guilt, release all of these beliefs that we have, like all of the things that we've been carrying around with us that have making us feel like we're not doing it right. Like I think a lot of us feel like we're trying, and we can never measure up. We're never doing it right. We're constantly looking outward for validation of, like, in the magazines or the media to tell us, like, how do I do this right? When ultimately it's all distractions. Like we're raised in a society of like constantly trying to do it better, faster, quicker, harder, you know, like everything's so focused on like the perception of like, you know, being good enough. And so I think like when we start clearing all of that away and we give ourselves permission to just take, and permission I think is the big part too, because it's like self-care and self-love is almost something that has a negative connotation in our society, because it's like you get patted on the back for working harder instead of saying like, today I went and got a massage and a pedicure. Like
exactly.
That's lazy.
Exactly.
A lot of people,
or I took a nap. I'm so proud of myself. Nobody would say that. Like, come on.
Not
exactly. In our culture.
Yeah. So I think that it's about clearing away a lot of those beliefs and giving yourself permission to tune inward and ask yourself, like, what is it that I need? Which is something that we just don't do. We put everybody else's needs in front of our own, and we put, you know, ours is like number 27 on a list of like 30.
You're so funny. I love you, Sheila. You are so my people. I knew I loved you when I met you, and now it's confirmed. When I do my motivational talks, I say we don't even make the cut on our own to-do list because we confuse. We think that self-care is selfish. And I tell people the definition of selfishness is when you're doing something for yourself that harms others. What you're talking about is, I don't even want to use the word radical, but it's about vigilant, mindful self-care as self-love, because when you love yourself, you're going to love yourself into your natural body's shape. Is that what you're saying?
For the most part, yes. Like, I think the thing there is, like, I think a lot of other people are saying you should love your body that you're in. And I think people hear that as saying like, well, wait, hold on. Am I not allowed to have goals? Like, am I not allowed to want to get more fit, or am I not allowed to want to like change my body? Is that what you're saying? And what I'm saying is you can set whatever goals feel good to you, but do it from a mindset of just self-discovery, self-love, and making it almost like this journey versus like, I need to get there, then I will be good enough. And when you flip that switch and you focus on like nourishment and that self-love and really taking good care of yourself and giving it whatever amount of time it takes and making that be fun, you know, like enjoying the journey as cliche as that is, then it opens up this whole new world where you start to really understand like, I can be good enough right now and be on this journey that every human being is on, where we're always constantly wanting to better ourselves, but it's not like we have to get there in order to like cross the finish line. Like we're good enough today, and we're getting better and better and better from a mindset of like expansion of ourselves, of our like core spirit self, not like once I prove my worthiness, then I'll feel happy. Does that make sense?
Exactly. You are so on my program. So instead of my mentor, Reverend Michael Beckwith, he was just on Oprah's Super Soul Sessions last night. I'm so proud of him. He says that'll be us soon enough. Hi, Oprah. We're here, Sheila and I. He said it's not about getting, it's about letting. So what you're talking about is it's about letting go. I made a let go list today. It's about letting go of guilt, letting go of shame, letting go of comparing, letting go of not being good enough, accepting, acknowledging, and loving who we are. And then listen to what she's saying, my friends. She's talking about a journey. It's not like when you get size this or weight this, you're good enough. It's you're good enough now, Sheila is saying, and that every day you're getting even better. So you're setting goals, but you're not doing it from punitive. I was telling people that I teach classes on mindfulness and self-talk to manifest your goals. And I said, no one wants to be on a die. You want to be on a live.
Yeah.
It's so important, the words that we use. But if I said, oh, I'm going to go on this 30-day boot camp diet thing, I'm like, that doesn't sound attractive to me. And maybe I'll do 3 days and I'll quit. I just know myself, right? But if you were telling me, Deborah, I have this system that's going to enroll you on the Love Yourself, Love Your Body program, where instead of having to force yourself to lose weight and gain it back, you're going to release it and it's going to be permanent and you're going to love it the entire time. Then I'm like, sign me up, Sheila. Put me in, right?
Yeah. And I think that also sometimes when people hear this, they think, oh, this is just woo-woo, you know, self-love, like spiritual stuff. But honestly, like I will tell you, when you flip this switch and work on this behavior and the way that you think, then it gets you to this place where it's almost like you're changing the glasses that, like the lenses that you're looking at the world through. So then you're more open to opportunities. You have ideas that are more conducive to the direction that you want to go, versus if you're in this mindset of restriction and like contraction, you don't have those ideas. You're not on that wavelength. You don't, it's not as easy because you're not on that vibe. And so that's where, like, when you start to change the behavior, you see that it really does become easier, because it becomes something, it's like a muscle that you build. The more you build that muscle, the easier it gets, because you're practicing it more and more on a daily basis, and you're giving yourself permission to like take action, analyze, and adjust as you go, versus like get it right every single time.
So take action, analyze, and adjust is the key.
Yes.
Very important. Oh, I love all your steps. By the way, just so you know, if you see the headline under Sheila, tell them about your free gift, just in case they want it right now.
Yeah, so if they go to sheilaviers.com/free gift, then you can get my 3 steps to losing weight without restriction. And that's basically where I take you through, like, step by step, how to create this lifestyle that allows you to lose weight, lose weight naturally. I mean, it makes it sound like, oh, it just like falls off my body. But really, when you get into that mindset of like nourishment, you start to understand that it's like the less you obsess about your body and the more you just literally take really good care of yourself and focus on doing those things in life that really bring you enjoyment, then it sets you up for your body to be able to function optimally. And a lot of the stuff, like me, I had hormonal issues, I had digestive issues, I had all kinds of stuff going on. And when I started learning how to take care of myself and tune into my body and eat foods that were nourishing but tasted good too, and move my body in ways that felt good, that, it wasn't like I hated every single workout, but it felt like something I get to do. It felt like something fun. Then my body started working with me. It started cooperating. It was a much easier process, and it's sustainable because honestly, like you need to have something that you're going to stick to for the long term, right? It's about designing something that is taking into consideration your preferences, your lifestyle, your work, what you're doing on a daily basis, and creating or designing the plan around that.
And is that what you do with people? You help them looking at, like, 'cause for example, for me, and I know a lot of my people that are listening, I'm traveling all the time. In fact, one of the things I did was I started consulting because I wanted to be home sometime, because I could never control what I was eating because I was always on the go. But now they have like salad bars at the Amtrak station at LAX. Like everything has changed now. Now I can go back on the road now. But before it was so difficult. It was like there was pretzels and pizza as the option. And like it just wasn't working for me, and it was just so horrible. But you're saying that there are strategies for busy women on the go, or busy people on the go?
Absolutely. And I think it's all about convenience. So it's not about beating yourself up for not doing it right or not doing it good enough, or, again, having these super high expectations. It's about deciding like, okay, what are the decisions that I can make to make this as easy as possible for me to nourish myself? Because once you start making those decisions that make you feel like you're doing it good enough, then you start building more and more momentum, and then, things just build from there. And so, like, if you're someone who hates prepping on Sundays and like making chicken breasts for the week or salads for the week or chopping vegetables, then I say don't do that. Like, buy the pre-cooked chicken, go to Whole Foods and spend a little bit more money, but
I'm on the Whole Foods program. That's me.
Yeah. Like, basically set yourself up for success. Do what you need to do. Like, if shakes make it easier for you and having bars when you're on the go, then do that. It's not like, if you can find, like for me, I plug in, I have a system that I use for my busy women to say like, here, let's do this. Like, you'll get your shakes, your bars, your vitamins, and then you've got your bases covered. Like, you don't eat this wide variety of food every single day with all of these different nutrients. That's just the reality of most people's lives. So let's plug in these nutrients, make sure you've got those. And then from there, you'll feel like, well, at least I did that. And then you're more apt to stay on that positive momentum versus if you just jump out of bed and you're running late and you go through the drive-through and then you feel guilty and then you hit the vending machine and it just kind of spirals downhill from there.
I think I was watching one of your Periscopes that inspired me, or maybe it was a blog. I don't know, something you said that made me feel cool about Whole Foods is my new drive-thru. Okay, so if I'm like, if I'm gonna, because drive-thrus are expensive. Even I eat somewhat healthy, like going to El Pollo Loco or whatever for chicken. Still, now I'll go to Whole Foods to the salad bar or whatever that's pre-made stuff. I'll get my kale salad with my little bit of quinoa and whatever. It's $11, but it lasts for 2 meals, and it's like fast, easy, fresh, on the go. And I feel no guilt because Sheila said that was cool. Remember that? You wrote a blog or something?
I always say that because I feel like it's so important to just give yourself permission to do what you need to do that's in alignment with the things that you enjoy. And so if that's not your thing, then don't make it be your thing. Like, focus on the things that you really enjoy and set yourself up for making everything else as easy as possible so that you can make that, you can do what you need to do to nourish yourself, but then you can also put your attention on the things that bring you that joy.
I love, what I say, Sheila, you're going to love this, that I tell my clients, you're enrolled on the Success with Ease and Grace program. And if you need a fitness and health coach, you call Sheila right now. That's what I'll say. Come on, you're good. You're on my same program. So when it comes to fitness, let's talk about this. As a recovering over-exerciser, myself and yourself, what do you teach people about the exercise portion of the releasing the weight?
So, okay. This is a tricky one for most people. So if we were to clear away like all of the beliefs that you have about what fitness is supposed to be, and we really get down to the root, the root reason why exercise is helpful to your body is because it gets you breathing deeply. Because most people are not getting very much oxygen into their system. Most people breathe very shallowly. And when you bring in that extra oxygen into your system, again, your body, your cells, everything is able to function optimally. So if you think about that, then you're never going to do it wrong, because any sort of movement that you do, whether it's walking, dancing, whatever, jogging, biking, ice skating, like whatever feels good. If you're breathing deeply, then you're doing something really good for your body. So then beyond that, so that's like step one. Step two is thinking about what your goals are right now. So like we have different things that are interesting to us, or different levels. Like as we continue to up level, we continue to set new and different goals. So when you give yourself permission to say what feels most exciting and interesting to me right now when it comes to fitness, and you give yourself permission to just do that thing minus all of the other things that everybody else has told you that you should be doing, but you just say like, what right now, dance classes sound the most fun, pole dancing. Or for me right now, I'm actually getting into the gym and lifting a lot heavier than I ever had previously. And that's just where I'm at. But it doesn't mean that's right for anybody else. So it's really about asking yourself, like right now, where I'm at in my journey, what feels most exciting? And then giving yourself permission to follow that advice and just do that thing and make it fun. Make it about, discovering like, what if I could show myself that this was possible? How fun would that be? And then once you get there, then you'll set a new goal, because that's just how things work.
So what if? Yeah, because I ran for a long time and I suddenly stopped and I said, well, what if I could just start again? But for me, the only way I'll do it is if I'm at the beach. If I'm anywhere else, it's like too boring or I don't want to do it. But if I'm at the beach, it feels like a vacation. So I'm like literally on the ocean, on the, by the waves, and I'm like, oh, this is so fantastic, right? So how many times a week do you recommend that people exercise? Or are you going to say, listen to yourself?
I say move every day if it feels good. Like you don't have to go balls to the wall every single day. You don't have to, push yourself as hard as you can. Like tune in and see where you're at. If yesterday was really tough, maybe today's a little bit easier. You just go with the flow of what feels good. You can set up a plan. You can work with a trainer if that feels inspiring to you, to have that guidance to, if you're like focused and saying like, what if I could do this, but I need somebody to help me because I don't know how to do that. So, setting up a plan, but then also working with your body. Again, like not pushing it through a really tough workout if today you just feel exhausted. Like doing the best that you can today and knowing tomorrow is a new day and you'll be able to work out tomorrow. Like this is not the last time you're ever going to be able to do this workout. And so you just treat it as like a process of like always making progress, but never holding yourself to the standard that you have to meet that or else you're not good enough.
And that's the important part, because as a recovering over-exerciser, I would either get sick or injured because I would overtrain. And I just had to get to a point where I worked out less. It wasn't going to be the every day or even the 6 days a week. It was like, my thing is 5, but like you said, it's different for everyone. If I do 5, I'm fantastic. If I do 3, I'm okay. And everybody is different, but to listen to their body. And that's where I think it's amazing that you have lots of programs. I was looking at your website. You have self-study programs and people just need a kickstart. And then you have coaching with you individually. How can people work with you wherever they are in the country? Because I know that you work online with people.
I do. All of my clients are spread out across the U.S., even Australia, so I can work with anyone anywhere. And I have, like you said, I have a 6-week course that's basically a jumpstart that people can do by themselves. They can go through this process. A lot of the things that we talked about today, specifically relating to food, your body, your relationship with food, exercise, and all of that stuff. Then from there, I have a 6-month course called the first one's called Rock Your Dream Body, Feel Amazing. That's the 6-week. Then my 6-month course is called Rock Your Dream Body Immersion. And that's where I take people either one-on-one or in groups. And I also do have a self-study version of that, but it's currently not available because I'm promoting the group version, which starts in January. And that one, we start with that foundation of food, fitness, and emotional health, where I really build that very solid footing for us to then build on. So I teach all of this stuff that we talked about today in depth, but then we start talking about and looking at the other areas of life too. So we look at relationships and how to build really nourishing relationships. We look at career and really giving ourselves permission to be very honest with ourselves about what we're doing and what would be most satisfying, and if that is something that is energizing or de-energizing, and really getting to the point over those 6 months where we give ourselves permission to have it all. Like we really can have the life of our dreams. And part of that is having the body of our dreams, but the biggest part is just allowing ourselves to see the bigger vision of like what it is that we want for our lives, what our big why is, like what is it that we're really shooting for, and then building the life around that supports that.
I love
and so those
that.
are the two big ways that you can work with me.
What I appreciate about Sheila, your work, is that it's very holistic. You're taking into account, mind, body, and spirit. It's not just about weight loss. It's so as a byproduct, I bet you guys, I don't know for sure, and I'm sure you can read the testimonials on her website, is that you'll have more confidence, which will benefit you in your career, which will benefit you in your relationships, which will benefit you just in your relationship with yourself, which is, to me, spirit. When we're connected with ourselves, we're connected with our higher self, which I believe is divine. And loving ourselves is loving the divine. So it's the holistic approach that you take. There's going to be so many benefits that people will get. That weight loss will be the byproduct when you have like your great career and your great relationship with yourself and your great relationship with somebody else. And it seems fantastic to me, girl.
Exactly. That's it. That's how it works. And it's almost unbelievable for most people that it can happen that way. But once you experience it for yourself, you're like, oh my God, I get it. I understand now, like how it's all connected. And when I really start working on these things and removing all of this stuff and healing these old wounds, then everything else gets better because I'm taking care of me. I'm not waiting for somebody else to do it. I'm putting myself first, or at least near the top of the priority list versus down, near the end. And that's really hard to do, but it's so rewarding once we finally do it.
I love that. I have a phrase from my book. It's schedule in your calendar, see it in your life. And yours maybe would be, schedule self-love and self-nurturing and self-nourishing in your calendar and see the love manifest as a healthy body, healthy relationships, healthy joy in your life right here and right now. You can have it. So I want to thank you so much. Our time went so fast. I have 25,000 more questions for you. I honestly do. So maybe we can have you back on the show. And, I really would love to hear more from you. And how can people stay in touch with you on social media and get that free gift again? Can you let them know?
Yeah. So again, it was sheilaviers.com/free gift. And then you can find me across social media. It's just Sheila Viers on Instagram, Twitter, and then on Facebook, it's Sheila J. Viers for my Facebook page.
Fantastic. And what I'll do is I'll
Periscope too.
Oh, don't forget Periscope. Periscope.tv. I'm going to put all of your social media in the description on the YouTube. So look in the comments. And by the way, subscribe to my YouTube channel. And if you have any questions for Sheila, just put them in the comments and I'll make sure to tag her in them so that she can respond to you and answer them for you, because she is here to serve you. This is her life. This is her passion. This is her purpose. And I know that if you feel aligned and called to work with her, that I can guarantee you that you will be successful. Because I only bring experts that I admire and that I believe in. And I know that Sheila is fantastic. Come on.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. It was so magnificent to have you on the show, and time flies when you're having fun. But I want to thank all of you guys for tuning in. Like always, I say that with the power of synergy, anything is possible. And I encourage you all to visit. I also have a free gift. Gifts for everyone, says Oprah. If you go to synergyignited.com, I have a new ebook out on 6 steps to manifest your goals with more ease and with more grace. And I know that people that have already downloaded it are seeing that now. So I encourage you to do that. You can also, on my website, deborahderas.com, which will be in the description below, you can check out all of my amazing vision board play shops. In the month of January, we are doing them from San Diego to Fort Lauderdale, baby. I am going to be everywhere and in between, right here at home in Silicon Beach, El Monte. It's going to be so fantastic. So we are here to support you. Sheila's going to get your body right. I'm going to coach you to get your marketing and your mind right. And we are going to make sure that you're going to be successful. Make 2016 pristine, my friends. Why not? You deserve it, right, Sheila?
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. So I want to wish you all the best. Thank you for tuning again, once again, to Deb TV, where we believe that sharing is what? Caring. So share this on your YouTube, share this on your Facebook, share this on your Twitter, and we will be seeing you on the next episode with the fantastic, amazing Angie Lee. Thanks for tuning in. This is Deborah Deras, your host, signing off, reminding you that with the power of synergy, anything is possible. Ciao. Bye. Bye, Sheila.